Parties with a Purpose. I'm Clark Seitz. I'm the Executive Director of Community Coalition for Haiti, and I am very excited that you are gathered tonight. We really see these small parties as an opportunity for all of us to share. We get the chance to share with you about CCH's mission and ministry in Haiti. I hope that you take the opportunity to share with us what got you interested in our work, what questions you have. And I think these parties also really help us tease out how all of us can have a role in the work that's happening day in and day out, even when we're here at home. So thank you again for gathering tonight. We have a short video for you that really showcases some of our Haitian staff. But before we get there, I wanted to take just a couple of moments to contextualize things for you. I recognize that many of you may already know about our work in Haiti, our healthcare, education, and community development programs. But for some of you, this may be your first opportunity to learn about our partnerships and mission. Those three areas, healthcare, community development, and education, really are the core focus areas that anchor our work. But all of those programs are also connected in some really cool ways through community-based health and wellness. We run clinics in Jacmel, Haiti that see over 20,000 patients every year, many of them unable to seek out and afford that care elsewhere. But we don't limit that healthcare to those brick and mortar facilities. We take healthcare out into rural communities. We take health education into rural communities because we know that prevention is key. And if you can arm people with the knowledge they need, the low to no cost interventions that they can take at home, we really start to navigate those health challenges in some creative and innovative ways. Teacher training is at the core of our education ministry. We want to equip and empower teachers with the skills and confidence they need to lead the next generation in Haiti, right? It's literacy, yes, which is critically important, but it's also problem solving and creative thinking and preparing those kids who are Haiti's next mothers and fathers and pastors and mechanics, preparing them to be the change makers that Haiti needs. And so we love our work. Community development is at the essence of partnership. That's also a thread that weaves through all of our work. Everything that we do in partnership, firmly believing that when we take a look at what we can do together, more so than what we can do alone, we find new and exciting ways to reach further and do more every single day. As you can imagine, our work has persisted in the last year and a half, but not without difficulty. I don't have to tell you what navigating the COVID pandemic has been like. All of us have lived through it. And in Haiti, it added another layer of complexity. Haiti's already a really volatile, difficult, multifactorial place to work and to live and to raise a family and to provide healthcare and education. And so when you lay a global pandemic on top of it, it certainly becomes an even more challenging context. Haiti also is dealing, even now, with a high degree of political unrest, heightened violence and kidnapping, public demonstrations, contested elections, a contested president. And this all happened for many months ahead of the COVID pandemic. The entire country was shut down for 4 long months at the end of 2019, which brought everything to a halt. And then just as everything was reopening in 2020, COVID stopped everything in its tracks. And so we are thankful that COVID was not as bad as it could have been in Haiti. There's a number of reasons why. And so in August of 2020, schools reopened, businesses reopened, but the political unrest started again, and that's what we're dealing with right now. We're also currently seeing an uptick of COVID cases in Haiti just within the last several weeks, and so we're watching that closely. What we have control over, of course, is our mission and ministry, and while we have continued to provide healthcare to those who need it, we've continued to train teachers, we've continued to help families help themselves. We've added COVID prevention campaigns. We've trained all sorts of community members to be health educators. Take a look. I know your hosts tonight have our 2020 annual report, and I hope if you've not gotten that yet, they will distribute those soon, because there are all sorts of stories and statistics in this publication that really spotlight some of the creative and impactful work that happened in the last year or more. Ways that we worked with motor drivers, how we continued to feed hungry bellies during all of this, and how we have really partnered in new ways. What do they say about innovation? And, when we're forced to say, all right, here we've run up against another brick wall, what are we going to do? That's when those thinking caps really come on. Our staff in Haiti have been the ones that have led this work day in and day out for many years, but I have just been even more impressed by their dedication, their thoughtfulness, their determination in the last year and a half. I wish they could come speak with you today. They are led by Ruben St. Louis, who is CCH's in-country director in Haiti, and his team is just over 20 Haitian men and women who lead our programs. They can't come, right, because of a variety of efforts. I wish they could be there with you at your party, but that's why we wanted to share the video that's coming in just a few seconds. We call it Voices from Haiti, and it's where our leadership reflects back on the last year or more and talk about what they learned, what made things even more difficult, but why they still see promise and hope in the work that they lead every day. Let's take a look.
Past year, life has been very stressful. It never has been like that before.
2020 was such a difficult and stressful time, not only in Haiti, but in the world.
So, because of all the political unrest in Haiti, because of the roadblocks, a lot of crises in the country, like you have to cross the barricades, the roadblock to go to work, it was very, very hard for me. And I had to come to work, but thank God I still have a job, but it was very hard for me to cross the roadblocks to come to work.
With COVID-19, going out there to the communities with my friends at work, like coworkers, to spread the message about COVID-19 for people to protect themselves, it was, very difficult. So many people didn't really care about the message. Some of them, say, oh no, you don't have to stay here, go. COVID, it's not real, it's not a reality. It's a lot.
I got the coronavirus. It was so hard for me. And I was panicked. But luckily, God saved my life.
We missed the mission trip. We hope that one day COVID-19 will be behind us, political will be behind us, and we can still meet again and we can continue to work.
At CCH, we are so blessed. After all this crazy and pandemic, with all uncertainty in the world, CCH still continue to serve Haitian people. And we are so thankful for that, because there are so many NGO, non-profit in Haiti who stopped working because they could not. But for us at CCH, even though it was hard for us, but we continued to serve Haitian people, and we can be proud and for that.
My son kept me going. He has the light that shines in my dark days. He always makes me laugh.
With everything that we are doing for CCH, God put the desire in our heart to do that. Even if we have a job, but if you don't have heart for it, it's gonna be extremely difficult for you.
All we are doing for Haitian people through CCH, it's bigger than us. This is a goal from God. And God put us on that position to help to lift his people.
After all the like political crisis and and everything that happening in the world, so CCH is still working, and you still have the job, and you can say, okay, so God is in what we are doing.
By example, when I am at the school, in the training or having a program with the kids, I feel joy. I can see God promises in my life. God said to go everywhere to preach the gospel, but after that he said, you need to do some good work to the people. You need to help them. You need to take care, help them to understand the blessing that you receive from God. It's very, very, very good thing.
Despite not being able to live the way I planned, the restriction shows me how small things matters, how family and friend times matters, how support in the community matters, how support between staff matters.
I have learned a lot, but one of the most important thing, on my side, I think, it was the importance of communication. And while we are panicked, but we keep communicate and to make sure we are on the same page and to continue to work and to help Haitian people.
Political and COVID-19 change all our plans. Sometimes you can feel that you are discouraged, but when you remember the promise of God, you keep faith, and you know that by praying you can also find a peace.
So many things. First, if I start with the education program, I can see in the future what CCH is doing with the teachers, students. It will be very large in Jacmel. So I can see how the kids will go with another mentality. I will see how the teacher teach much better.
For the future, we have a new staff, a new directive staff. So the staff has been reorganized, and I'm happy, I'm excited. You can see, you can feel the vibe, the positive vibe that they're sending to us. You can see the dynamism that bodes so well the future of CCH, and I'm happy. I wish them success, and I'm so proud every day, more proud to be part of such a fantastic family, the CCH family.
CCH is more than a work, it is a ministry. In my times in CCH, I learned a lot of things. I learned how to love people, how to care for people, how to help people, and how to show love and compassion to people.
God is doing a lot of things through the staff, put heart and put love in our heart.
What we are doing in Haiti, we cannot do it without your prayers and your support.
I can't wait to see the future at CCH.
All right, there we have it. They are a wonderful crew, and believe me, I know how fortunate and blessed I am to be a part of this team. We have really bonded together even more so than before in the last year and a half, given all of the challenges that we continue to navigate together. And so I pray for that team often as they lead us day in and day out. And I welcome and invite you to do the same. They are critical members of the coalition at work, and so are you. You, by joining a party with a purpose, by engaging with the Community Coalition for Haiti, you become a member of our family. So welcome to you as well. And there are many ways to engage with us. I encourage you to talk to your hosts about our stateside activities, about teams. We often have teams that travel down and work with us in Haiti multiple times per year. They are not traveling right now, but we look forward to the day when that does happen. And then, as I said before, we always invite and covet your prayers. Another way to support this work is to give financially, and that's what I'd like to invite you to do tonight. Your host will give you more instructions after this video about how to give, but I'm inviting you to give, and I want to tell you what your donations can do. $20 puts books in the hands of young rural school children who are learning how to read. CCH partners with more than 25 schools directly in southern Haiti, and most, if not all of those schools, had no books when we began working with them. We have created libraries, classroom libraries in our partner schools. We have rotating libraries that they share so that they always have new material to take a look at. I want you to think about how hard it would be to learn how to read with no storybooks. $20 puts books into those kids' hands. For $50, you can do a lot of things in Haiti with $50. $50 buys a box of medicine for our clinics. Meds that our patients are not charged for. Many of them, remember, come to us because they cannot access healthcare anywhere else. And we don't want them to not have medicine because they cannot access medicine. And so our pharmacies are fully stocked with medicines donated or paid for by people just like you. $50 buys a box of medicines for those clinics. It also buys a week of school lunches for one of our partner schools. Protein-enriched rice and beans that fill the hungry, hungry bellies of these kids. Hungry kids cannot learn. You should see the joy on these faces when lunch is served at our schools. And for $50, you can feed an entire school for a week. And for many of those kids, it's their only guaranteed meal that day. $150 supports a day of mobile clinics out at one of our schools or other partner communities. We take doctors and nurses and medicine, health education to those communities. We cut out the middlemen. We don't want parents trying to figure out how they get their kids to town, how they travel and bring a sixth child across the river and down the mountain. We don't want them having to decide between feeding their family that day or paying for a doctor. So we take healthcare directly to those communities. $150, and you sponsor an entire day of mobile health. A $500 gift to CCH supports an entire week of summer camp for one of our partner schools. We work with 3 schools directly to help them plan and facilitate an entire week of summer camp for their older students. It's not just all fun and games, though. The teachers are learning by doing as they facilitate the different activities and sessions. It's all tied together. $500 buys an entire week of summer camp for those kids. Or if that's not quite up your alley, you're not a summer camp type of girl or guy, how about some solar panels for the roof of our program center? With everything that's happened in the last year, unrest, COVID, transportation lines being cut down, fuel is incredibly, incredibly expensive and hard to access in Haiti. Power, the power grid, is also incredibly inconsistent and unpredictable. And if we could add solar panels to our roof, connect that into the energy system that we have, we could better steward our time, our resources, and our energies. Believe me, solar power would keep the lights on in more ways than one. So consider those gifts today. There's so many ways that you give. Every dollar impacts in really unthinkable ways, and the ripple effect of those dollars also continues to amaze me. 87 cents of every dollar donated to CCH supports program in Haiti. That is something we are very, very proud of. So your host, again, will give you instructions on how to give. They have all that information for you. But let me thank you now for your generosity. Thank you again for taking part in tonight's Party with a Purpose. And hosts, thank you for bringing these wonderful people together. We love you dearly. I look forward to meeting all of you at some point in the future in person. And I wish I could be there with you tonight. So thanks again, and I'll talk to you soon.